Bang, bang. Welcome back. OWCS Day 3 of our group stage. Let's chat about our last match for the EMEA region today. Another elimination is about to go down, gentlemen. And on one side, we've got Flexodiax, which, I mean, they do have a few players with competitive experience. Looking at Tricky here, who played in CGL, Dive Party, I think. He also made an appearance at Flash Ops. So there's a bunch of names you might know from contenders. A few newer faces here as well.
Yeah, look, and look, this is a team that struggled in their opening game, going 0-3. So, like, in terms of what we have seen from them, I think there's still a lot more to show. This is kind of the perfect match for EF Flexodiax to do just that. So, really looking forward to seeing them deliver. Obviously, yeah, Tricky maybe a little bit more well-known than the rest of this roster. Quick Esports, though. There's some names here. Is that your boy, Dan? Shax, Danad as well, sitting on the bench. Fi as well. We know we've seen plenty from Fi, through contenders, even Flash Ops to a degree. So, again, a team a little bit more well-known, a little bit more tenured names here.
Yeah, I mean, Don was with the Eternal, and then Shax obviously has played with Valiant and the Spitfire in the past, right? So. We've also talked about, I feel like at length, like, hey, when you have somebody who can play Tracer, like there's going to be a spot for them in just about every mid. And Shax is, one of the players who, when you think of Tracer, like, he's like one of those players like for Europe that you kind of think of.
He's the reason. Shax is the main reason why the Valiant got that huge upset win against the Vancouver Titans in season 2. Back, I think Scott was on that roster. That was like the bumpy era. The Vancouver Titans. Shax played Sombra in that particular game and absolutely ruined them. It was like a huge upset victory, a huge moment for that Valiant team, I think, or went on to win like a stage final sort of on the back of that sort of strength there. So
is this like a cussed ad read here?
No, Scotty was on that team though, I believe. I don't know if he was too smart at that time or not. Yeah,
he was playing. I think that was like past that point.
There you go. Yeah, so he wasn't too smart yet. But he was on the way. He was definitely the path of erudition was beckoning him, no doubt about it. In the game here in just a moment, seen a lot of Orisa in the past from Dan here. But again, Shax, Fi, Dan, that is a really powerful lineup. I think Fi hails from SRP Check most recently, team that we got to see a lot of in the Flash Ops Holiday Showdown, Matt.
NA played some Orisa yesterday. I believe it was Hawk was playing some Orisa. So there's probably still some teams out there who kind of feel she brings a lot to the table, right? The spear spin can just kind of like knock players out of the way. The Baptiste for both sides as well, which is quite interesting. So these two teams playing a much different brand of Overwatch than we've seen today.
Look, it certainly makes sense in the context of having the Orisa on your team. That extra durability is a big difference maker here. And we have seen teams bring that Baptiste out. Look, I think especially with a Cassidy on your team, like there's just a lot more reason to value that amplification matrix. Sona in deep trouble. Yeah, getting caught up there by the javelin spin. Done.
I also
pushing him back.
I think if you're gonna play that fight like in the middle of the map, like the range of the Sojourn is just so much better than Cassidy, right? Like we see Cassidy in medium to short ranges excel. Like if you're gonna take this fight constantly, like you'd rather play Sojourn in that type of scenario.
Yeah, Cassidy is very good at stripping that armor away from Orisa, though. Obviously, so much of her health pool, consists of armor now, because again, there are single hits that are coming in that are doing a lot of damage. So that's the best way to deal with armor, is there's damage reduction per hit, as opposed to Tracer, who has lots of little hits that all get reduced by the same sort of amount. She will do less damage overall. So Cassidy's still pretty powerful, especially at the range that this sort of point dictates. But Dan has a lot of windows for, like to fortify and to use a javelin spin to make it really hard to get the damage. But you see, once Dan loses that armor, that health pool starts to disappear pretty quickly. Just not quick enough for EF Flexodiax.
Yeah, I mean, he just, it does disappear, right? But like by that time, everybody on Flexodiax is like down below, 50% to like 30%. Right now, Quick Esports, they're going to have, 4 ultimates coming into this next fight. I mean, this is it's going to be pretty tough for Flexodiax. Okay, so they go with the Zarya. The Zarya worked the other day when we saw it, because like the other team's playing like that aggressive style with the Doom. There's really no reason for like Quick Esports doesn't need to be the aggressive team into this, right? Like they can kind of play a little bit further back.
I think so, but they have the option as well to try and overwhelm the Zarya very quickly. They have extra mobility available to them. The javelin spin is non-negligible in terms of the speed boost it provides. Immortality Field and Matrix combo here from EF Flexodiax. Done. Okay, that's a Terror Surge, basically just for the Cassidy. I like to see that. Reisu accosted by fire there, and yeah, Tricky does not survive that encounter with the Angry Bull. Fire now, rather. Back over towards the point, needs to flip this back.
Yeah, I mean, they end up using the sound barrier with 3 players alive, right? Like, so you're not going to get, like, crazy value out of that, as this will be Quick Esports just flipping the point back in their favor. So they are just moving forward. Just, you know, Tricky has not really been able to have any space here on the Cassidy.
Yeah, that's why I think you don't play back against this. Even if you do have the sort of Sojourn range advantage, I just don't really think you want to let Cassidy get him. Oh my goodness, that was nicely done. A big environmental there. Fire gonna end up falling apparently to the mag grenade, but we knew what happened there. Straight over the edge they went. Tricky in trouble though. Spearspin would have sent him packing. He's not going to survive the follow-up damage from the fusion driver. And Peak, the only player to fall here for Quick Esports, as Fire has returned. I won't need to play the Fire this round.
Yes, that one's pretty one-sided there in favor of Quick Esports. We'll see if Flexodiax, maybe with a whole round playing that Zarya, can you know, make it a little bit closer. So, looks like potentially we're gonna get on a Orisa mirror potential. Don now hovering over the Doom, so maybe some swaps here.
Switching this Zarya midway through the round is always a hard sell because Graviton Surge actually takes a fair while to build up, and if you don't have success in the upcoming fights without that Zarya ultimate, which can be hard to do as Grav is a really key part of playing around her, then you won't build it at all for the round. So tough one for EF Flexodiax. Didn't have a chance to recover and make use of that Zarya switch. Down here on the Winston though, Sona will be going for an Orisa himself.
Yeah, as Don goes over to the Winston, so putting lots of pressure on the backline. That's already the immortality field, but Don just walking on back, just takes a ton of damage and not able to live.
Would you want to play the Winston into this for any reason? I feel like that the Javelin is just a little bit of a scary thing to deal with, as you get disrupted so easily by the Orisa.
I mean, maybe you feel like you can just kind of take advantage of the backline, right? Maybe you feel like you can, I mean, just like they did there, right? All Don did was jump in and get the immortality field out, right? You do that, you can live. You feel pretty good about it. Even with those early picks, it's going to be Quick Esports controlling the point.
Again, how much ability do we have Flexodiax have to really close the gap on a position like this? It was part of our conversation in the previous round. Now on the Orisa, it might be even more pertinent to discuss that. We're going to go White Room here, unsurprisingly. Here comes that push, Don. We'll hear it coming. We'll be waiting for it. He would have seen it already, and a peak heals with Tricky already. Tough for Cassidy's out here today. Tricky struggling there as well, as Kiriko kind of does everything you do, but a little better.
Well, it's hard, right? Because you don't want to like toss the immortality field or use the regen burst too easy. But you know, the Kiriko damage, like it's just so bursty. It's just the headshot that comes through ends up taking out Tricky. I don't think you really do much here without the Cassidy.
No, and you're opting into a choke, you know, against Kiriko. So there's always a risk there that just a random kunai insta-kills you or takes you down after you receive a bit of poke damage. This is a Terror Surge here. The boot, though, was well-timed. Hard to say, really, if Dollar had intended that, but it works out that Sona cannot capture anybody in that ultimate. And Dan absolutely tears Flexodiax limb from limb.
Yes, I think really just getting into the backline, just causing a lot of problems there. It's Kitsune Rush. I don't think anything was caught in the Terror Search, so even then it's really difficult. I see a lot of people end up using it just for like the extra fortify, right? Just to survive a little bit longer. Is a Tricky from range, takes out 5. So let's see if they're capable of making anything out of it. But that's going to be Don using that primal rage, going to get back Suzu there just to heal him up, keep him vulnerable for a second.
Oh, okay. Pulse Bomb, yeah, gets stymied by the immortality field, but Shax is able to follow up and finish off. Oh my goodness. Shax just walked over that one. I don't really know how else to explain your way out of that one.
Overclock.
Ate that one for free. Overclock here from Fire. We're moving right along now. 4 straight on back. Constant pressure in from Tricky. Tricky was very low. Still able to hide away, stay alive, and allow a teammate to secure the kill.
So they flip. So they're able to flip 92% here for Quick Esports. Still, though, just one fight away from taking it. Looks like potentially you're gonna do some changes. Yeah, I don't think you love the Winston into the Orisa. As right now they'll actually go with a mirror matchup. So you'll see both teams play that Baptiste.
Yeah, I think it's the same question we asked Space Station. Really, you might just be making it harder for yourself. In reality, you could just mirror and have some success. Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, they can't afford to stay in white room. Dollar gets caught there. Tricky starting to come online. Now with a little bit more space, that Cassidy demonstrating exactly why it's been kind of the go-to pick for a couple of our teams today here at EMEA. Shax is in danger after recall down to half HP. Finally, Tricky's getting some attention from Vi, who's switched to match on Cassidy.
Yeah, so now for Flexodiax, you have an amp matrix they're going to have to walk into, right? You have the Terror Surge. Nice spear there. Looks like connected with maybe 5, but he gets topped up.
You see just how powerful Fusion Driver plus the amplification matrix can be.
It is a little bit of an early amp matrix, right? It buys you some time, but we'd have loved to get some larger amounts of damage and follow-up out of that.
Soundberry here. Terror Surge will come in, though. Immortality Field used by Quick Esports. I think still going to fall, though. Zona does not want to give this Cassidy any room and eventually runs Fi into the ground. Dollar won't be long for this world either.
We got ourselves a game now. Sunny moves on forward, there with the Orisa, takes out 3. It's final fight territory really for both teams as Quick Esports going to make some changes. Fi going over the Genji just to get back in the fight rather quickly is, looks like, try and get Orisa back in the mix. It will be Quick Esports jumping on, getting a touch.
Don't get grenaded is all Fi needs to do. Sound barrier here. Yep, straight to the back line. You can play aggressive, get a dash reset now and move on to the next target. That's the Cassidy. Absolutely taken down. EF Flexodiax here. The Genji didn't need to be the difference maker. The sound barrier could have been anybody. They switched to a DPS as Dollar had a unanswered Lucio ultimate, and that's enough for Quick Esports to frankly brute force a solution at the end of the round.
Yeah, I don't think you even got the immortality field or burst out at the end there for Flexodiac when Fi went in to make a play on the Genji, and then you have the Genji dash in, get a kill on the Baptiste, then get a kill on the Cassidy, and it all just kind of falls apart after that. But Flexodiax played much better on that second point, so maybe something they kind of carry on into the next map.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad they came out of the gates with the Orisa there, on Garden straight away, and you can see just the kind of pressure that Winston has to deal with. It's not only just like trying to avoid the Orisa when diving in it. At long range, she can disrupt you. That brief stun with the energy javelin is actually enough to basically be the difference between life and death at times when you have to get things pretty perfectly right there. So Down eventually forced to switch. We see Fire switch over towards the Cassidy as well. And again, maybe on an individual level, Quick just a little bit better when it mattered at the end of that round.
Yeah, I mean, look, when they were in the mirror matchup, though, Flexodiac, they had a little bit of an ultimate advantage, right? Because they're running it for, a majority of the time. But when, the Quick Esports trying to push through White Room, like a few pushes in a row, they're able to hold them, right? Get into, basically last fight territory. So maybe if they can force some of these mirror matchups a little bit slower, they have a shot.
We may see some more of these Zarya Cassidy-based comps as we head to Midtown for our next map. That's something we've already seen earlier on today. And again, Darn wants to opt into that. He absolutely can. Darn obviously was the kind of player that we saw in a lot of those, what we called back then, flex tank picks. Saw, plenty of, we've seen obviously Doomfist from him more recently, but sort of Orisa, a lot of Orisa at times. Again, when you're on a team with Khan, you don't have to worry. You're going to be healed basically, 100% of the time there. That was a pretty powerful combo. And Midtown comes up next here as we have Blizzard World and Hollywood both banned away.
Yeah, so Flexodiac had an option between Midtown, Kings Row. Decided to take us to Midtown, Kings Row. Maybe you can play even a little bit more of like those slower kind of like Orisa based comps, but also Kings Row, you need some like verticality. So maybe that's like where they don't want to play the Winston or the Doom or allow Quick Esports to play those different types of things. So we'll see how this plays out on Midtown, where Quick Esports, look, they have the players I think more people would recognize at home, right? I think probably higher expectations overall. Not exactly the cleanest map number one, though, right?
No, again, they got forced into a mid-range brawl with the Orisa comps, which is always kind of volatile anyway, especially when there's like random Cassidy headshots that can decide the outcome of fights. I would obviously go back to the Doomfist for this map. When in a previous series, we just saw just how frightening Doom can be, especially on defense, in either the first or third points especially. Both these teams have more than serviceable sort of hit scan DPS players there, so we might see plenty of flexibility between the Cassidy and the Sojourn should they be required. Gone are the days when Ashe would come out here. I just don't think the comps are quite slow enough. And if we were locked into numerous Ramatra mirrors, that might have been an option, but that's one reason why We're seeing less of her right now.
Yeah, and this is a Group B matchup. So to remind you guys, yesterday we watched the Group B winners, which was Bubo Spraycheck versus Left Right Goodnight. That was a 3-0 in favor of BSC. Both of these teams, ended up falling to BSC and Left Right Goodnight, respectively, 3-0. So, I believe Quick Esports played a lot Left Right Goodnight, right? So they had maybe that was like a quote unquote like closer in terms of like on paper, right? But like in terms of like the actual results, definitely not.
Yeah, no, it wasn't particularly close. I think Quick didn't even get the second checkpoint on King's Row in that matchup. So yeah, I don't know how they're feeling about potentially running into that kind of matchup again, Matt, but that's what awaits them on the other side of this match if they want to advance to the main event. No easy games from here on out.
I thinking about going Cassidy here. Oh, no, I'm gonna go Ashe. Yeah, so the Ashe is good when the teams play a little bit closer together, like a little bit more of a slower kind of like stagnated comp, because you can get maximum value out of the Dynamite, where the range here is pretty good for Ashe, probably better range for Ashe than Cassidy in a lot of scenarios. And you should be able to land some pretty significant Dynamite damage.
I like this. They're trying to outmaneuver and catch Reisu, I think, on their own. Reisu avoiding playing too close together with the rest of the defensive team. Yes, Regenerative Burst is an AoE ability that's fairly short range, but you don't want to get dynamited along with the rest of your teammates if you can help it. Shaxx picked off there, so Flexodiax look definitely very comfortable playing this mid-range Orisa setup.
I mean, look, and BAP is always like there's always going to be comps like built around like Baptiste and like enabling what he can do, right? The amp matrix isn't even really what you're there for. As Sunny ends up falling F5, but it's going to be an amp matrix from both sides. It's really the immortality field. I mean, you see one thrown in right there. It's even more powerful than the ultimate itself, right? Just having that extra ability.
Quick are struggling here big time. They don't really have the option to just walk in through the choke. They attempt to wrap around the left side. That also hasn't worked out at all. Either way, they have to get through a choke and they're coming off second best.
Well, so Flexodiax, they see that the Ashe is on the other side. Instead of just trying to take that fight at range, they actually use like the speed and kind of like move into what Quick Esports is trying to do, which takes the effective range, from benefiting Ashe to now benefiting the Cassidy. So now you see the Cassidy here for Quick Esports. Probably gonna play that dangerous hero, and we'll see. The immortality field, never dangerous.
I don't mind the Terror Surge response there. Great javelin to knock Fire out of the immortality field. He was able to get back to safety in time. Though, and Sona, seen better days. Fire eventually able to bring the Orisa down. An early sound barrier for Quick Esports though now means they need to disengage and heal up. They can fight against the sound barrier if they don't have one themselves. They just can't be low health in doing so.
Well, Flexodiax ends up using their sound barrier, and they end up pushing on in. They get a kill, but
is that enough?
Is that gonna? Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, that was great from Karama. Must have got the call. The dollar was extremely low. There's still a lot more work to be done, though. A peak, the one to find that kill, and off we go. Quick Esports finally break through now to begin the cap, and it's a very staggered respawn flow for EF Flexodiax right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you play these comps, then you really start to see like the BAP shine, right? Like players playing close together, like. But Suzu's awesome, but like immortality field just keeps everybody up, like literally through everything. And then also the damage that the Baptiste can put out. The amp matrix is almost secondary, but how fast he builds it up, kind of the same way Coalescence, just kind of use it whenever.
Been quiet for Shaxx so far on this attacking side, but now he has like a much safer flank route, or multiple of them, should I say. Where you're inclined to go down to the underpass and use those tunnels, he could do that too. So. Get to see him really make a huge impact on this attacking side for Quick Esports, but again, this is really where you can start to shine. I see. They are doing air matrices, and they get pushed past as Fire makes use of the space created by everyone disengaging. You get a nice little two-piece on that Deadeye.
So I feel like we've seen more Deadeye kills in the last, a few days than we've seen in years. As the Deadeye Fire lines it up, connects with 2. Now Flexodiax will probably have another chance here, probably one more fight to be able to hold on to this second checkpoint. But Quick Esports, Mitch, look, Dala is going to have this sound barrier, right? You can get aggressive behind this, maybe catch Flexodiac off guard.
Zona a little bit caught out here. Terror Surge, Fire knows better than to walk into that. Everybody disperses. Sona now down to half HP. Much of that armor is gone. Immortality field used away. There's going to be Shax to find Tricky with the pulse bomb there. It was, of course, a terror surge for Dan. Caused him to give up his life, rather, for that. Fire thinking twice about pushing in and ignoring the Orisa as low as Sona was.
You don't even need the sound barrier, right? You're going to keep this cart moving. Maybe there's one more fight here for the end. Shax's still on the hunt. There's one more player here. So... Oh, wait, what?
I don't know why they're not pushing the car right now, though. That's the question for me.
Well, we have 3 players trying to take out Ron FD on the Lucio. Okay, finally deal with him now. So now we'll get the car moving again.
I mean, look, it's fine. It's still a 5 versus 3 here.
I don't know how Rod got a kill doing that. That was crazy.
No, sure. Yeah, 4 versus 3. Actually, you're right. Rod was having to pick up an elimination there. It's quite funny.
Half the team turned around.
Yeah, well, they respected the power of the Lucio. It did cause them to slow down on the kart progress here, but hey, still just under 3 minutes to go. Sound barrier now, so Dollar's able to get his beats synced back up with Rod's, as opposed to them being a little staggered, almost like a fight apart previously. Nice parting here from Reisu, but doesn't realize he'd be on the menu soon after. So not able to get rid of the Baptiste on the other side though now, and Tricky and Shax are locked in a deadly duel. Well, they were until Dan interrupts that gentleman's bout. We can't really commit to the cart here. A couple of players still around for Flexodiax to do. They really want a piece of Rod. They really want this, you know.
For 2 Orisa comps, they're just all over the place. Pulse bomb here. Actually, that's not. Oh, that is unlucky. As he fortifies and backs up into the Lucio. You know, maybe that is the door opening that Quick Esports needed.
I mean, it is pretty big, getting Rod out of the picture here. We've got Amp Matrix is up, so it's going to be a very volatile next fight. We have Deadeye, Amp Matrix for both teams. Pulse Bomb for Karama, and of course the sound barrier here that's going to be almost essential as these windows come down. Here we go. Beat from Dollar and from Rod. Tricky waiting. Too close probably for a safe Deadeye. Look at that, the Immortality field able to remove that pretty quickly with the damage boost here, but Shax has found Sona. That's the Orisa down. Karama desperately trying to make up the difference in the back line, and the Terror Surge could be dangerous. Tricky's able to get out, and only just a recall from Karama to avoid the Orisa ultimate. Tricky's healthy and safe, and it will be a disengage for Quick Esports.
Yeah, Quick has to back up as Flexodiax holds on. Deadeye available here for both sides, but I think like Tricky, right? Like as they kind of push in, potentially we saw just in the last series, Deadeye I think got like a 2K here. Potential for that, but look at this, Karama in the back line. Oh, the pulse bomb here could be sick.
I'm out now, not too bad. Forces a cancel of the Deadeye there for Fire in order to have the mobility to escape the pulse. Oh my goodness! The Terror Surge fighting the Lucio is high value indeed. Dan in trouble now. Javelin Twirl will deny him. And Zono will win them with 3 HP. Shax naturally comes in to clean up. Now the Tracers, the last 2 left at the site.
Yeah, but I mean, nothing's going to happen with this, right? They're going to, shoot each other for a little bit, but everybody's going to back up. And it's going to be potentially the last fight here for Quick Esports as Flexodiax did a great job holding here on defense, the last part of the map.
27 seconds left to play. The very volatile fight, which delivered as promised. Behind us, just a couple of ultimates for either team. Deadeye and Pulse Bomb.
Where are we going here? Going high ground?
Well, going to a better place. That's for sure. With Shax.
It's Tricky trying to dodge, right? Jumps down, thinks he's going to get chased, pops Deadeye for like damage reduction to stop them from moving. So all the fights happening like on the high ground in the elevator room.
Tricky's still an issue. The Baptiste being alive as well. You're struggling to shift EF Flexodiax right now. Done a decent way away from that Terror Surge, and Air Matrix is scary. You have nothing Dan can really do. He can be shot between the car and the ground anyway. Shax will dodge away from the predicted Energy Javelin. Fire switching over towards the Widow here, but the other side line's good enough. Karama's already found Dollar here. And this is bad. This is very bad. Fire can't escape the pulse here. Rod actually going to finish the job, and Quick will be brought to a stop. Decent progress in the last phase of the map, but you've got to be expecting they wanted more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming in here, probably regarded by a lot of teams, a lot of people, just like the heavy favorites in this series. You'd expect them to do what we see a lot of the other, heavy favorites do, right? Just kind of like march the payload in. But Flexodiax a really strong defense here at the end, where it looks like when they're playing these like Orisa comps with the mirror, like Flexodiax can definitely hang.
Yeah, I mean, a much better round, I think, from Karama, who had a great time, especially when it came to the Tracer mirror. We sort of noted that Shax struggled a little bit attacking that first point, which is normal. It's a tougher one for Tracer to go for. The flank angles aren't great. But even throughout the rest of the map as well, Kurama really putting themselves on the map as far as Midtown is concerned.
I was gonna say, like, Shax has obviously had moments, but like, when you kind of looked at this Tracer battle, obviously, Shax is a more kind of like, household name, I would say, for, Overwatch esports fans. Yes, seasoned like name, but like, Kurama has played really well here in our first two maps, is really taking it to Shax, who's like a Tracer specialist at heart.
I think it's so interesting how the consensus between these two teams is established that we're playing Orisa mid-range and not a whole lot else. We've not seen a whole lot of it from teams prior to this, right? Sometimes something more nuanced, maybe something that involves Ramatra, even attempts at Winston-based compositions, especially from Space Station. But EF Flexodiax, they know where their bread is butter's map. Right here. The Divine Bovine leading the charge.
An early fight win here for Flexodiax would be huge for their just like momentum, just kind of like mental here in the second half, as that's Regenerative Burst and Immortality Field out right away. So probably gonna have to wait on some of those. You see the long cooldowns on both those abilities, and Quick Esports has to know they're both out and how important they are.
Again, Tracer does very little to Orisa with that armor up. It's negligible at best. Because as I've said, that armor really shuts down little tick damage. So not able to make his way into the fire station though, mostly being ignored until you can't really anymore, as the Orisa just plants herself on the point. Fire taken down, Kurama gets yet another one. They heard us talking about him and he started to show us a little more. Done, the next to fall, the Tracer from EF Flexodiax is having a field day right now. And in a 5 versus 3, you have to think that Peak is in deep trouble.
This mirror has been really good for Flexodiax. Like, you're getting really good Baptiste plays from Risu. Kurama consistently coming up with some picks. That time it's Fi falls right away. Is Fi playing the Sojourn here for maybe a little bit more burst damage capability, a little bit more long range damage. Constantly just peppering up that Orisa and then putting down those railgun shots. But Flexodiax, keeping up with a pretty strong showing here on Midtown, takes the first point, 5 minutes in the time bank.
So much to work with, but we've seen this before. Teams, even today, having such a great start and then getting ground to dust in that last phase of the map. Good news for EF Flexodiax is they don't have to finish it. 69.10 meters into that last phase. Quite doable here, especially with the momentum they've built. However, Quick Esports have plenty of ultimates of their own. Immortality Field has to be thrown there. Fire able to get rid of it now as that Amp Matrix is in play. Car Sickness from the Lucio POV on the stairwell. But now we're on board with Habik, who can get a commanding view of the situation and sees the Amp Matrix come down later from Reisu.
Yeah, he ends up using the M-Matrix by the payload. That's going to allow them to kind of get it underneath the bridge. This is like the toughest to kind of get through, right? You're stuck underneath this bridge. They can drop down from both sides. It's the toughest part to progress, but it looks like Quick Esports doesn't want to challenge it just yet. They're going to let them go all the way through.
Maybe waiting out. I'll have to wait.
Like they're just walking the payload all the way through. Yeah.
They've got a touch. They've got to get here somehow. Quick Esports need to make the play.
They have to fight eventually, right?
Preemptive sound barrier from EF Flexodiax. They knew that what was coming their way. Terror Surge for Dan doesn't really leave much of a scratch. Zona has one after the fact and only gets an Immortality Field. Both of those are down now. Stick on towards the Cassidy, not too bad, but Trick is able to shrug it off for the most part now. Fire going to try and make it happen with the overclock. Zona's a big problem, but there are other more pressing issues right behind Fires. The Tracer of Kurama is constantly pressuring. Fire taken down, but Tricky traded out. Both DPS are gone here, and EF Flexodiax won't be denied. Now to 1 versus 3. Dan needs to try and hold this up. Kurama gonna make that much harder for this Doom. Now at least if he gets returned to the fray, and Amp Matrix would be unwise to use here, and it's a quick stick and beat me up, Scotty. Does EF Flexodiax have this checkpoint? Surely.
Kurama's popping up. Well, not really. Shax and Fi back in the mix, yeah, and you just have Risu up on the high ground.
Okay. That's kind of sick.
I did not like the way that Quick Esports played that at all, though. I mean, they basically gave up the cart all the way to the second checkpoint. Like, at no point did we get a fight, as Quick Esports now, they will play, looks like Ash. Yeah, so Doom with the Ash, probably the Doom just to get out of the spawn, but not a huge fan of the way they play this on defense so far.
They got punished for being reluctant to drop off the high ground and actually take a fight, Matt. But maybe they're trying to get the Sojourn in a better spot with the card under the underpass. It doesn't feel like a great line for her. But then they got punished by the Deadeye.
Flexodiax, yeah, they zone them with like the Deadeye, and then they sound barrier early as they catch Kurama down below. 1v1 there against Shax, and then Don from the other side comes and finishes them off. So Kurama, a huge part of Flexodiac's offense. They'll probably back out wait.
We talked about that last fight. It was long. With how much time Flexodiax walked into this phase with, much of that is dwindled already. 2 minutes left to play. Don again will studiously ignore Zona at all costs. Last day, Energy Javelin messes up his lineups with a Rocket Punch. Pick those lost Immortality field down. It's going to be a sound barrier from Quick Esports. In response, that's great. Keeps that backline nice and sturdy as EF Flexodiax thought they had a window to push in with that Orisha and rust down the Baptiste. It doesn't work. And now once more, EF Flexodiax will be brought to heel.
Yeah, I mean, they're using their sound barriers so early to try and engage Flexodiac, but like Quick Esports, like just good mobility across the board pretty much, and they're able to like kind of get out of the way of it and then come back with their own sound barrier later on. So they tried that 2 times in a row, hasn't worked out. Kurama off to the side here.
Suffice to say, spotted by Don.
Yeah, they know where he's at.
His presence has been perceived. Still, Kurama more than happy to return to this flanking line. Here's the air matrix. Zona drops down instantly, dares you to challenge him while facing the amped fire from the high ground.
I feel like this is a must-win fight for Flexodiac. I feel like they have to win this point
maybe
here.
Ash. They got it. They lost the Baptiste in order to do so, though, Matt. Zona is down. That is bad. Yeah, I mean, losing the Baptiste so early, Immortality Field, I think got forced very, very early in that fight. Now we're down to 40 seconds here. This might be going from bad to god-awful for EF Flexodiax.
Yeah, so that was your Amp Matrix up on the high ground, maybe to try and give yourself some space. Maybe you think you can just kind of like bully them off the payload, but good mobility, good rotation of players just getting to the payload, touching it for Quick Esports, and now they're going to have double support ult, Bob, Pulse Bomb available. They're in a fantastic spot to somehow hold here on D.
Yeah, conversely, EF Flexodiax are in deep trouble. Whatever it is, they've not been able to deal with this Ash in a timely enough fashion. That heal pressure being put down by the Dynamites now with Bob available, like you said. That's just a whole nother issue to get through. Hoping for some poke damage, the EF Flexodiax with these last few seconds before overtime, and eventually they're going to have to face the music. Kurama taking down Shax, finally starting to really get some footing in that matchup. Zona tries to go for a desperate Terror Surge on the point, but Bob interrupts and throws a lot of damage in. And EF Flexodiax get that one, let that one rather go begging. That's a winnable one. They were in a great spot there, but they run out of juice in that second phase.
I mean, what, they had like 4 minutes plus, like it was close to 5 minutes, I think, when they got the payload. Yeah, I think it was 5. And they, you know, I didn't like the way Quick Esports played at the start. I think we can go there, is they basically let them just get the card all the way to the second point. And then when they started to play a little bit more aggressive, you know, with that Doom and then the Ash in the mix, I don't think Flexodiac had an answer. I think they were kind of just like throwing things out there to just try and get the cart's so close. You're like, okay, like let's just do this, try and get over the line. Like let's engage with sound barrier over and over again and get like a kill, right? Like let's use Amp Matrix up on the high ground and then just, you know, have our Arisa just move the cart in and hopefully they don't like come out and touch or whatever, right? But none of it worked.
Yeah, I think the biggest weakness with these Baptiste comps is Baptiste himself, his lack of mobility. When there's any kind of tank hero that can dive, combining with the Tracer, there's a ton of pressure on you. Exo boots are all well and good, but if you don't have like an elegant way to use high ground to escape a dive, you're in a lot of trouble. Combine that with, you know, like Cassidy's relative immobility as well, and you have all of a sudden a way more pressure on your backline than like an Arisa composition would be able to provide.
Yeah, the idea would be that like regenerative burst and immortality fields like enough there, you know, in combination with like, you know, Lucio being there as well to keep players up. I mean, half the time I feel like the pulse bombs we've seen have just gone the way of just destroying the immortality field in this series because you know, it's the first like, you know, big major cooldown that Baptiste has. Like it's like a 20+ second cooldown, right? Like being able to use that, it's like massive. So you know, both teams, you know, doing a good job kind of like playing around those Baptistes. But man, like Flexodiac, that was when you got it, just like the last series, right? It was like, oh yeah, like, you know, you kind of like you see a team and you're like, okay, that's their opportunity to win a map here, and you kind of you blow it there. So now you're in a really tough spot, right? Looking at potentially trying to have a reverse sweep here for Flexodiac over Quick Esports.
Yeah, and that doesn't feel super likely, right? Not over the course of 3 maps. good EF Flexodiax really put it together. I think Karama's been a standout player for me. I'm really enjoying
absolutely.
The Tracer play. Tricky's also had some moments, despite, you know, you draw a lot of attention as a Cassidy player, and you will get countered. People want to counter you because if you are allowed to get out of control, then you very quickly will seal up the game for your team. And there's a question, I guess, of like, you know, Doomfist, pretty good at Esperanza, right? You can play the Orisa, but their lack of easy access to higher ground can sometimes make that like a less than desirable pick. Maybe some teams prefer to go in the Ramatra direction, just for a little bit more power behind that ultimate, perhaps, and obviously the Nemesis form allowing you to very quickly flip the script on many of these fights. So, yeah, I don't know if we'll see that again from Zono.
I mean, I think the Orisa mirror has looked much closer between these two teams than when like Quick Esports plays like the Doomfist, right? Like I think that's when Quick Esports has looked their best, even up against, you know, the Orisa on the other side.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. And I don't really, and along those lines, I don't know why Quick Esports would want to opt into those mid-range games. They looked much better when they had Doomfist in their composition, even if they pulled it out as more of a last, or what felt like a last-ditch attempt on Midtown, ended up winning the entire map. There's a lot you can work with here. Winston's obviously an option. Saw that already from Space Station. Didn't work for them on this map. Not that we saw the conclusion of it, but we were told. That was word on the streets of Esperanza. And the locals down there in Portugal really letting us know how that one transpired. But out of the gates here, again, a first to 3 means that EF Flexodiax are teetering on the edge of being eliminated here from stage 1 contention.
Yeah, we'll see. Don and co, they'll go with that Winston-based setup. So we've seen them kind of run this before. You can get punished by that Orisa, right? But I know Winston, even according to Backbone earlier, feels like it's the best. You know, doesn't understand why the other teams aren't just playing a ton of Winston, right?
Yeah, man sees a different game. Hardy always has, I suppose. If he kind of pressure there, force a swift step, but doesn't have that cooldown available.
He thought he was gonna swift step across that gap and then end up just like. Is there like a thing sometimes where like it doesn't kind of like go through maybe, or it doesn't kind of go all the way through?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
there was a swift step bug for a while, but I don't know if that's still present.
So possibly that's what happened there, because that looked really odd in terms of like trying to get across the gap. So slightly unfortunate, but a little bit of an opening there for Flexodiax.
Jax takes more damage than he would have liked to there in that underpass, and is forced to recall to a state of less than 70 HP. Uncomfortable for those couple of moments for Shax. Fire slowly but surely trying to establish some sort of footing on this high ground. Dan can not really spend much time up there, just jump up, harass a little bit with the Tesla cannon, then back down. So it's slow going here for Quick Esports. The Orisa is just too hard to shift from that bridge.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a combination of like Quick Esports doesn't exactly want to like push up to that high ground, but then also Flexodiax doesn't want to give it up, right? So you're just kind of having both teams play, off of the side of that. That's a pulse bomb there for Karama, but does not end up resulting in a kill, as he's got to go back and get the bot, as the bot was moved a little bit further back. That's going to be a Kitsune rush into an amp matrix here.
Yeah, interesting plan there for Dan to go in like he did, but with the sound barrier, it makes total sense. Diving past the amp matrix onto Tricky, eventually doubling back to clean the kill up. And Quick Esports, they were very patient, spent a lot of time playing from the low ground, avoiding that poke damage, building up key ultimates, and now they're ready to put some total on the board of their own.
Yeah, now Quick Esports can play potentially for the high ground, right, if you wanted to, with this overclock. Oh, he's just looking for one shot there and nails it right on the Karama.
That is so free. Getting a Tracer kill in that fashion, unbelievable. So it takes 2 overclock hits. Yeah, that really puts the Orisa out of the fight. Got to be a sound barrier to even give them a shot, and now this is starting to snowball.
Yeah, and he pops the overclock there because it's the Terror Surge, and Dawn gets quite low, so wants to like prevent players from following up. But and look at this, the Winston in your backline causing so much trouble. So,
yeah, this is where the Winston looks really good.
Yep. Quick Esports also got to get this first checkpoint. Also makes the Winston look really good when your Sojourn lands like 4 railgun shots.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dan gets to do whatever he pleases there. Zona switching over to the D.Va. Does this feel like a concession to the pressure of Winston?
a lot of people feel like that diva is like pretty good in terms of like her space against like Winston. Like I think in that specific matchup, but I mean, look, if you're going to lose a player, you know, before the fights even kick off to a railgun shot every single time, you know, play whatever you want. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. Oh, he actually tries to peel for his teammates and flies right on top of Shax's pulse bomb.
Like one of those very sobering ads where it's like every 3 seconds, a player out there dies to Fire's railgun. And remember that next time you're out there battling Overwatches. Consistently getting these edges in the fight, and again, like that's why Fire's playing so aggressively. He's like, hey, if I can just stand here, charge these rails up and find a free kill, we're in a great position. Even if I don't, they have to go around me. They can't really run at me. There's too much risk in either mobility to get away and to draw them into what could be a weaker fight where they get counter dove by Dart.
Yeah, and I think Quick just trying to bait them in a little bit here, you know, with this sound barrier. It's, nope, now they decide to go. It's going to be a sound barrier connects with everybody. You see they push the Lucio really far out. Now it's Don's chance. Who's he going to go for? Kariko uses TP. Yep.
I think Don's happy enough with that now, especially if, like, yeah, Tracer can follow up on that sort of lack of mobility now that is being suffered by the Kiriko. But this is getting out of hand here. Self-destruct here.
They shot by Fi.
Fi will avoid the fallout. And yeah, beautiful headshot on the ejected Diva. Now we're getting 100 meters. And from this point, there's rarely any going back. I think if we had the numbers on hand to sort of say how many times a team could come back from this kind of deficit.
Gonna get a Maga switch here. That's a didn't have the last minute Maga switch on my bingo card, but.
And what do you make of this? Is this just like I really hate Winston? I'm really trying to kill Winston?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. I actually think the Diva is the better option against the Winston than like playing the Maga, but.
You can't be staying on it, right? As soon as you have access to high ground, you're probably switching off Maga back to Diva, right?
I mean, well, I think you're just trying to like get out of the spawn, put down some damage, just like be survivable, right? Just be as tanky as possible. I just don't think, like, in the position that you're in, that you're going to be able to like coordinate any type of like dive, right? And this is like worst case scenario for Flexodiac. Double flex support, the double support ultimate with the primal rage back, you know, just getting knocked into your spawn. I mean, this is brutal.
You're not getting this back. You're not getting this back. You're getting it full capped here. There's a good chance of it. Zona the first to go down here. Shax and Fire piling in, and EF Flexodiax are utterly falling apart. That is about going to do it here, ladies and gentlemen, as Quick Esports make quite the grand statement as EF Flexodiax are banished to the Shadow Realm once and for all here in Stage 1. Quick Esports have another chance to make the main event.
Yeah. Look, they made it look easy there on Esperanza. Flexodiax had some moments throughout the series, but obviously just not enough there at the end. I think just kind of like the potential and, you know, dominance there of Quick Esports. I think Don on the Winston was awesome there in the final map. Then Fi on the Sojourn really turned up, and there was just zero answer.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, signs of life from Flexodiax throughout the series, but not enough of a heartbeat to keep him alive. Quick Esports kind of pulled the plug on them, if you will. A lot of the series,
It's always been about murder and elimination.
Yeah. It's elimination day. I'm tasting blood.
Some demon time elimination stuff.
I mean, that's not murder. It's just, you know, following up on DNA.
That's support. Yeah, I was about to say, like, that was.
You felt her energy level go up when she was like, "It's elimination time." I'm so excited to.
People are going to get killed from the competition.
I'm so excited to eliminate these young players who are trying
Blood
to make
is in the water.
To see that. People love to see that. Guys, I do want to chat about
people dripping with viscera.
Stop it! I want you guys to run me through something here. Because
run you through as well? No. Still on the killing. Zoe, when will it end?
It's my thing. It's my shtick. Don't kink shame. Thank you.
Murder is my thing.
In this series, we got to see a lot of Orisa. That, you know, mid-range Orisa comes, something we didn't get to see from other teams at all thus far. Now, without action interrupting your trail of thought, could you walk the viewers through what this comp actually offers to the respective teams?
I mean, look, when you're playing the Orisa, like with the Cassidy and the Baptiste, like it's a pretty sturdy comp. The Orisa provides like decent damage output. Like, you know, let's say they try to like push into the back line, right? Spear spin. You know, the spear just kind of like in general, like the throw, just knocking into walls, like provides like for some, you know, easy target focusing. And then mean, really, it's like she can fortify, like she can really survive on her own. You don't really need to put a ton of the resources into the Orisa.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I'd say where in maps where like verticality isn't an issue, Orisa very effective at taking space in the horizontal sense, right? And again, you can honestly like body block with her, you play from behind her, and you really want to play a short to medium range game, which that all of a sudden means that Cassidy playing the backline is in a great spot. He's basically within his ideal range, and it's pretty easy for the Orisa to divert enemy tanks or pressure away from their backline by simply swinging around, either using a javelin spin or knocking someone off course with like an energy javelin shot. So she's very, very good at playing that sort of more death ball style here, and if you can set her up with like DPS that are designed to succeed at that range, will be good.
Yeah, her issue is like when she goes against comps, like your Winston, Tracer, like how we kind of saw, like even Sojourner on the other side. Like she's just kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. Like she's not fast enough to get back to the other team, but then also doesn't, isn't fast enough or does enough damage to like close in on the other team's like backline or anything. So she's just kind of like standing there. That's obviously when she's not great.